an unmet urgent need right now, and I am excited about anything that could possibly be helpful to people.
That local researcher is talking about a new Alzheimer's drug approved earlier this month by the FDA. Good evening, I'm John Stofflet.
And I'm Lee Mills. She says it's long overdue for the millions of Americans fighting the brain disorder. But there's a reason why she's moving forward with caution.
NBC 15's Michelle Beck looked into the drug lecanemab. And Michelle, what should people and families know about this?
Well, first, experts say this drug is different because it tackles what causes Alzheimer's, not just its symptoms. And while this is hopeful news for many, lecanemab is not for every patient. For the chance to slow down a devastating disease,
Possibly 1 to 2 years of kind of plateauing.
and stretch out the precious moments.
A few more years with the grandchildren.
SSM health psychiatrist and Alzheimer's researcher Dr. Ann Copeland says she'll be prescribing lecanemab.
But I will cherry pick who will get it.
Her cautious optimism, as she puts it, stems in part from the side effects. Some can be as severe as brain swelling and bleeding. And while 6.5 million Americans suffer from Alzheimer's, this drug targets those with mild cognitive impairment.
It is an IV drug every 2 weeks. So that is quite a burden on a person who's still very mild.
Across the country, like in Nevada, those who could benefit are raising their hands.
I think there's a risk on any drugs that you take, but I also think that we need the opportunity to take these drugs because at present we have nothing.
Meanwhile, in Michigan, Bertha Bullen only wishes the drug could have made a difference for her late mother.
2 more years of her recognizing me as her daughter would have meant the world to me.
In the face of high hopes, Dr. Copeland says some questions are still unanswered, like how long people will need to take the drug. And Dr. Copeland expects lecanemab to become available later this month. Meanwhile, the drug maker has set the price at more than $26,000 a year. Earlier this month, the department behind Medicare said it may reconsider its current coverage as data becomes more available. Live in the newsroom, Michelle Beck, NBC 15.